We got Nate Bargatze on here. He's a very fucking funny guy. You've seen him on Netflix. He got Netflix special. Seen him on Conan. You've seen him on Jimmy Fallon. Big golf guy, I understand. Is that right?
Oh man, I'm obsessed. I played this morning. I've played every day. COVID's been the best thing that's ever happened to me, golf wise. I've played I honestly every day, and I'm trying to get good. And we have our club championship next week, and I've never played it like something like that. So I went and played this morning, and just trying to, figure it out. Like you start learning, like you're missing. I mean, there's so much to golf. It's my favorite thing. Golf memes. I'm a big fan of you guys. Like you guys are, I feel like the only ones that cover golf in such a different way. Golf's not a sport that's completely covered great, or outside of like ESPN, the clips that you get. You feel like you're, I'm obsessed with it, and so you feel like you don't see anybody be obsessed with golf. And then, seeing you guys is like, you're like, all right, I'm not weird. There's dudes like me that are into it.
I don't have some condition. I just like golf. But it is like,
Yeah.
if you're a huge football fan, like you probably don't play football 5 days a week, right? Like whereas if you're a huge golf guy or golfer or golf fan, like you probably play golf a shit ton. So it is like that has helped us where we are able to put our games out there, and everyone's probably like, oh, I don't feel so bad about myself watching you guys play golf.
Yeah, they don't, and then, I mean, too, like with y'all, and y'all interviewing golfers, y'all kept, I was just saying, the Tiger thing, y'all meeting Tiger was like exciting. As a fan of you guys, it felt like us meeting Tiger, because Tiger's a guy that, you just don't think you're ever going to meet. And if you do meet him, you're like, I don't know what it'd be. Like, he's the dude. And so, I actually just watched, I think either y'all reposted it or I just saw it again, of where Tiger coming up to y'all when y'all are at the green.
When he asked Trent, where are you stationed?
He asked
and Trent's brain turned into an absolute mashed potato pile.
But Nate, what would your answer be if Tiger Woods or anybody comes up to you and says, hey, where are you stationed? I just don't have an answer for that question.
Are you asking where our podcast is stationed? Are you asking where our hotel is? Or are you asking where Barstool Sports is stationed in the country? Which answer is it?
I mean, I would want to tell him all three of those things. So like, I mean, here's my hotel, Tiger, in case you want to come by there. You should ask him if he's staying with you. And you're like, we're staying over at this Holiday Inn. Where they put you guys up at? You ask like he's like, where he can't. He's like, I got a yacht. And he's like, I don't know, man. I'm Tiger Woods. I sleep on the green if I want to. So, yeah, it would be I could see giving any response. I mean, what are you going to do, man? He's the only one we talked about. So, you remember when he won obviously won the major after his dad died, the first one after his dad died. And he's crying. He's hugging Stevie Williams. And we were watching my buddies, and Stevie looks like he's trying to be like, all right, dude. And as a guy, you're like, dude, you better hug him for the rest of your life. You do not push Tiger Woods off in a moment like this. He's the only man that I would let cry on my shoulder for hours. Hours I would sit there with him.
Start rubbing his back and stuff.
I'm here for you, dude. I'll whatever you need. And I remember seeing that. I mean, that's the with Tiger, that's what you see. Everybody kind of folds. Anybody that meets him, they all kind of fold. Like no one's just like whatever. I mean, it's Tiger Woods. There's only so many people that are like that.
That was really my one takeaway after the fact, to try to make myself feel better so I could get a full night of sleep after that. Was it would have been weirder if I was confident and being like, oh yeah, Tiger, it's good to see you. That's my hero. So it would have been weird if I acted normal. So to have my brain completely melt down to the point where I couldn't even formulate a response, looking back, it's not that bad.
No, it's not. It's anybody's going to react in that way. No one, and if someone acts like they're not going to, then they're, it's like they're lying to you and they're not a fan. I mean, that's meeting Jordan, Tiger, Jordan. Yeah. They're essentially, those are the two guys.
Where did the love for golf come in for you? Like, where did this start, right? Because you're obsessed with it and you're playing all over the world. Like, how did this start?
I grew up playing. Like, I played a little bit growing up, like never anything crazy. And then, but I love sports. I'm just a typical regular guy. And so I just got into it. And then I would say the past like 6 years is where or 7 years, I've gotten like super hard. When I lived in New York, I lived in New York for 9 years, and we would play some out there, but it was like, I mean, I was a new comic, and all my obsession was having to be with comedy. So I was going out every night doing shows. And then as I've gone to play over the road, and then now I've been able to like join a club and like really go there and use it. And so the past 7 years, it's a sport that you can't perfect. So you're always like trying to do something and figure it out. And then you learn stuff. And I was too, like, now that I've gotten better, and you start learning what a real shot feels like. And so then now you're like, it's almost the worst thing that ever happened to you is to learn what that feels like. Because then you're chasing that shot of just like, it feels like nothing. Like it's unbelievable. Like when you can hit a ball and it doesn't feel like it touches your club and it goes farther than you've ever hit a ball. And it's just, I don't know, you're just by yourself out there, and it's just, it's so impressive of a game. I've got to play with a lot of pros, or some of the guys I've come with, and so it's so impressive to watch them and how they hit it, and they just pinpoint it where they want it to go. And it's just, you dive in.
It can be the worst thing that happens, because then you kind of, a light bulb goes off, like, oh, I've been doing it way wrong the whole time. Like this, like actually never done it right up until this moment.
Yeah.
And like all the thinking and tweaking that I was doing, like none of it ever did the right thing until now. Like, oh shit.
You start seeing where guys, like, where like golf is very hard, but the better you get, you start going like, I could see how it's not like it's not hard. It's obviously always hard. But shooting, like if you could ever shoot even par or something, you're like, all right, I could see. You start seeing like how you're like, all right. I'm the big. I say every round of golf, I'll say I think I just figured something out. I mean, which everybody is. I mean the whole, and I mean I'll go through rounds like putting. I've finally stuck with one grip, but I mean I'll putt with. I mean, it depends on the hole, what kind of grip I'm going to use. Like I'll go left hand low, pencil. I'm like, I'm going to do pencil these 3 holes, and then I'll switch back up. You learn you got to stick with something, and then you just go with it, and then you start seeing it. But yeah, it's very addictive because of that.
I always say, like, I've never gotten to the 18th tee and had the same golf swing I had on the first tee. Like, never. Not even close. It's just fucking, by the time, you're on 7, and you're like, you know what? I now remember that thing I saw on YouTube. I'm going to give that a shot. And then, like, by 13, you kind of abandon that. You're like, what we were doing on 1 wasn't that bad, but, like, let's put this other little spin on. And by the time you get to 18, it's like, you've got just a carnival of golf swings that you're rolling to the 18th tee with.
I'll be hitting cuts. Like yesterday I'm a cut guy. I hit cuts. And then today I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a draw guy now. I like draws better. And today I was a draw guy. And you switch, and like, you just have to go do it. I've been playing, so John Augenstein he plays for Vanderbilt. So the course I'm a member as is Vanderbilt's home course in Nashville. And so I've got to play a lot with him. And Shay, who we all have had, Shay's been playing with him. And he just finished. He's a finalist. He was a finalist for the Hogan Award. He's playing in the U.S. Open and the Masters this year, and going for low am. And it's been super fun to play with him. He's 22. It's unreal to watch him hit. But then getting to just ask him questions, like, and just being like, hey, what are you doing here? Like, just way he thinks around a course is truly amazing. And then also going to get to watch him play in the Open and the Masters. I mean, he's coming back for his 5th year at Vanderbilt, but he'll be able to be the low am. But to be able to go now, like, really root. I mean, like, when you know these guys, and some of them, and you're like, oh, I get to really root for this kid. Like, I'm going to get to watch his career. I mean, he has a chance. He's one of the top golfers in the country, in the college. So when you get to really watch them and root for them, and you learn golfers' stories. They have great stories. Like, it's all just dudes out there. Like, so it's very fun.
Yeah, we always say that because, like, I mean, that's honestly, like, the proudest that we are of this show is that when you turn it on, and we always say it's just like, for the most part, you turn on the golf coverage and you've got like 20 white dudes that could all win, that all look the same. They all come from the same background.
Yeah.
They're like country club guys, and like, you're looking for a reason to root for one over the other. And like, having that, and then understanding, kind of knowing somebody to a certain degree while they're coming, like, it does go from a level of like, no, I'm not a fan of that guy now. Like, that's like my friend, and I want my friend to win is a whole different experience when you're watching golf.
I started watching Kisner a lot more because of you guys. Like, I know you guys are close with him, and not that I always knew who he was, but he's very fun and he's funny, and so just seeing him with you on here, like you're like, oh, you're like, he's in my PGA, like I star him, kind of know where he's at, and you're because you're like, you have a tie to him, and that's where like I've been very fortunate in my golf world. But like I've become real good friends with Jason Day and Tony Finau and Webb Simpson. I haven't met Webb. Came to a show and then we've kind of exchanged them. Will Gordon is another guy that played at Vanderbilt, and he's now on the PGA and he's coming up. He pounds it, dude. He's like he carries it. I think it's like 315, 320,
Oof.
and it's another thing. It's like a different. I mean, all of them do it. You play with like Jason Day, and he does it too. Obviously, Finau does it. He's got like a half swing.
And then takes it to his belt buckle and just rips it.
Yeah, and you're like, what if you just swing all the way? You just tell him. Or what if you use the whole swing? He's like, I think I got it, but all right. Like,
take it all the way back. See what happens.
What if you use the whole swing? I love that.
Tony, I don't care for you not going all the way back, buddy.
Imagine thinking you're the first guy to tell him that. Like, hey, I don't know. You made it so far, but just go all the way, and I bet I can go 500 yards.
I mean, playing with these guys
6 holes, by the way. Before I said, what happens if you go all the way back? Like, I was just that guy.
Yeah. Like, do you get more nervous playing with guys that are like pros like that? Because for me, like you'd think it would elevate your game because you want to keep up with them, but for me, I would just crumble.
It's they I played with Augenstein was with me this morning, so I'm starting to play better. So it's getting, you kind of got the thing where you want to show off a little bit. And I think I have that because from comedy, like if Jerry Seinfeld walked into a comedy club, I want to like murder, like you want to just destroy. And like with these guys, if they play with Tiger, because I've asked them, do they get nervous if they play with Tiger or something, but they want to show off to Tiger. Like, so they want to do so good that Tiger goes, man, this guy's good. So you can sometimes have a mix of that. I've been playing better, so I haven't been too nervous. But I've played with Jason. Jason Day had a great story. He said they play with a guy that's terrible, and his ball is all over the place. And every green, he walks up and checks like the ball closest to the hole. And Jason Day's like, it's never going to be your ball. Just so you know, your ball will never be that ball. So when you walk to the green, don't look at the ball close to the hole. I promise it won't be that ball. And every time he's like, is that, I don't know. What is that, Titleist? Is that Bridgestone? All right. No, okay. I'm over here. All right.
Dude, Jason Day is he's like our most elusive guy. He went out of his way to like talk about how Barstool is like great for the game. And then we just can't get him on the show.
You'll get him. I'll tell him. He'll do it. He's gonna do it right now for sure. So I'll get him. Y'all should talk to John Augustine too, because that's a fun dude.
Yeah.
We'd love to.
His career's coming up, but you're have Jason, not a problem.
Jason Day and I locked. Yeah, Jason Day and I. So we had a lot of momentum to get him on. Like he knew we were in the area at Pebble Beach during the U.S. Open, and I locked eyes with him, and he was like, "Are we going to do this right now? Like, are you going to say something to me?" And I just pussied out. I just stared at him, and he goes, "Okay," and just walked away, and that was it. That's the last we've ever seen of him. That was our chance to grab him, and we didn't. And I haven't slept since then. It's been about a year. But it's been. I just always remember those eyes being like, "Do you want me to come over there and say something to you guys?" And I was like, "No, just keep walking."
He'll do it. I've become pretty good friends. Like he's been to my house. I've been to his house. His backyard is unbelievable. He's built. He's got like 4 different types of bunkers, like a Augusta bunker, British Open, Australian Open, and he's got U.S. Open rough, and then he probably hit a 150-yard shot and 3 greens. I mean, obviously these guys have to do this kind of stuff. That's their profession, so basically a write-off. But but he's a super great guy. I never know him. Yeah, he loves you guys, and he wants to. He'll do this. He'll easily talk to you guys. He would love it. He's just awesome, very fun, funny. All golfers are pretty great. Like they're all pretty good dudes. That the ones that you meet, they're all just nice guys. Like I don't think there's any that are just like train wrecks. I mean, there's probably a couple.
When you're Bryson, and he's a whole nother type of person.
Oh yeah,
he got so big, man.
Crazy.
It's weird. It's pretty wild. I mean, he really went after it. Like, I know. It's like you stare at, you're like, I mean, his back looks like my back hitting. It's hunched over. Like, I'm sure it's not. It just looks like that. But his back looks like my shot, where it's like a hunch. Yeah, you're supposed to hunch like that? Is that good?
To his credit, it's working. I mean, he had a hell of a week.
Dude. His swing looks like a hammer swing, though. It's like it looks like he's lost a little flexibility, but he is massive over the ball. Well, I mean, the club looks like a toothpick now.
Yeah, and that what's funny is like how far he's hitting it. So I'll see like Justin Thomas, or where they hit it, they hit it. He's not as long as Bryson, but like it's just Thomas is tiny, and then he just smashes it. But you put all that together.
JT's like a little wire, and he fucking moves it out there. And then you've got this brick shithouse. Yeah, that's Bryson, and he's doing it. So, I mean, it makes me, like, at least seeing JT, it's like, okay, I don't have to look like Bryson in order to do that. And then we were talking, like, the maintenance on Bryson that he's going to have to go through to keep that body like that. Like,
I mean, it's like having a Range Rover. I mean, you're like, dude, it's a lot. It's expensive. It's expensive to have.
What other –
go ahead.
What other, like, comedians? Like, you play golf with many other, like, comedians?
I played so Ray Romano. I played with him a few times, and he does. I mean, he's great. He takes it very. He's someone that's really into it and loves it. And I think he's like a 12 handicap or something like that. 11. He did. I don't think he's ever broke 80, and that's his big thing. He like tells everybody, but he has to putt everything. He puts everything in. He won't take gimme putts. And so he plays everything by the rules and everything. I mean, I've seen balls just tiny, where you're like, all right, obviously that's fine. And then he still just wants to putt it. Sebastian Maniscalco has been playing. I think he just started. So I don't know. I played David Spade. Spade's not bad. He's good for about 9 holes. That's all he wants to play. It's a weird, like when you go play, he's like, we were in Vegas and we were both playing there. And so we were playing and he just 9 holes. He's like, I'm out. But he hits it better than I thought. I didn't think, I was very curious to be like, all right, he wants to play 9. How's he going to do? And he just pounds it. Just nothing crazy. Just gets it in the middle of the fairway and does all right. Like, and moves along. And I don't think he cares. Trying to think of anybody, other comedians. I mean, there's a bunch of comedians that play. This comic, Jay Larson, I know. Rory Scovel. Rory Scovel's pretty serious about it and can get obsessed with it.
Sounds like the Nashville, the Tennessee golf scene is pretty packed with fucking guys. We got Shea, we got Jake Owen, we got you. Like, these guys are playing golf all the time out there. This
summer's been unbelievable. We played. I mean, so there's a lot of former Vandy baseball players in the pros. I mean, this year, who I played with, and this is the life that I'm in. It's not trying to show
name
it
drop.
off.
Yeah, you're gonna name drop here. That's
but
fine.
This is all name dropping. I played with Mookie Betts. I played twice with him. He's local. Sonny Gray pitches for the Reds. Mike Yastrzemski for the Giants. Kirk Casale is a catcher for the Reds. There's a little friend Wyatt that we have that's like kind of friends with everybody. We've all been kind of connected through that. So those guys pound the ball too. Obviously these baseball players know how to.
Is Mookie Betts a good golfer?
He's not bad. He shoots like 80. Like, yeah, I mean, he's just new to it. He just shows up with whatever clubs he has. Like, he's like, these are my buddy's clubs, and just uses them, and then just goes out. And he's, Mookie's like a bowler too. Like,
that's what I was gonna say. He's a crazy avid
golfer.
Yeah, he bowls like 300s like all the time. He's in like professional bowling league.
He could have went pro bowling. I mean, he loves it too.
Jesus,
I think he made the right choice with baseball though.
He did choose
a little bit more money.
Right.
Yeah.
So then
money's not everything.
Shea, and then obviously then Shea. So and then John Augenstein we've been playing with. So we've all been playing together. And Shea, by the way, when Shea came on here, Shea's not shooting in the high 70s.
I was going to ask you about that. When we were talking about you coming on the show, you said I have some disputes about Shea's game. So feel free.
He's out of his mind. Shea's only been playing for a couple years. Shea's a good golfer, and can hit it and actually can play. But when I saw his interview, he goes, I'm like high 70s, low 80s guy. You're like, what? You're not. And I think I figured out why he thinks he is because the other day we were playing, he had a crazy hard shot out of the bunker, and Augenstein was like telling him, telling him how to hit it. And so he's like telling him, and it was like a whole thing. And then he hit an awesome shot, and then he made the putt. And he's like, that was for a par. And you're like, no, he drove it over into the range right before that. He forgets like one shot on every hole. Like, you're like, no. You're like, that shot was amazing. I'm not saying that wasn't amazing, but you completely forgot that you yanked one over there, that then you went to that one. So he like forgets, like he'll forget like his tee shot. You're like, no, he forgot we teed off on this hole. It's like, that's right. You know what? Bogey. Sorry. I started counting from the middle of the fairway and I lost track. So that's where Shea's at. When I heard him say that, I was like, is he? I was like, no, dude, he's not shooting.
You can be a really good golfer if you don't count like 15 strokes around. If you take off 15 strokes, you're going to be a hell of a golfer.
Yeah, if you just end up, he moves, and Shea will be very good. I mean, he's only been playing for a couple of years. Shea definitely shoots in the 80s, so he's a above average, golfer. But yeah, high 70s, low 80s. That's not. He shouldn't be. He should just say, I'm all right. This is what he should say. When you ask, he'd be like, I'm all right. I do pretty good. And you're like, he does great.
Where's your game at right now?
Yeah,
you said you're playing well, and you're keeping up with the Vandy guys. So where are you at right now?
Well, I'm not keeping up with but I'm at 3.3 right now.
Ooh,
and
nice.
It's an uncomfortable number. I was like a 6th start this COVID, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna be able to complete focus on golf. So I wanted to get to the 3s, and I've had I shot like 76 today. We're having our club championship. I played from the blue tees. I shot 76, and I shot 85 2 days ago. So I'm still in there. 3's a little uncomfortable for me. It's uncomfortable to say it. Like I'm very comfortably a 5, very comfortably. I'll all day long. I will be 70s, 80s. Like I'm fine with that. But 3, you start getting, you're like, all right, I'm not.
That's where you're like you're on the first tee with people you haven't played before, and they're like, all right, we're gonna do a match. Like, how many strokes? You're like, what? I'm a 3, but like I should play as like a 5.
Yeah.
They're like, well, what?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck does that mean?
Well, you said you're a 3, and you're like, you already said 3. You're like, I know, I'm excited to say that, so I like saying it, but I do want to say I'm a 5. I just didn't want to do it. What are y'all? Y'all like Riggs? You were shooting 80s at Pinehurst.
Yeah, I'm like I'm down about a 6 right now, and I'm getting low. There's this guy, Eric Alpenfels here at Pinehurst, who's like the main teacher here, and he was rolling by me like a month ago on the range and just started giving me a little advice. And he's like, why don't you come on down to the other side, and we'll throw you on the video. And I was like, all right. So I changed a couple things, and for the first couple weeks of that, it was awful. It was like trying to get used to it. Like you just said, where you're like, one day I'm cutting it, the next day I'm drawing it. Well, I've been basically drawing the ball forever. And then he's like got me changing my face and opening up the face of my backswing. So now I cut the ball. So I always still aim down the right and then cut it, which is not good. And so he's finally got me. It's been like 3 weeks now, and I'm starting to hit the ball fucking great. So I'm starting to post better scores. I'm a 6. I think I should be able to hopefully get down to around like a 5 or a 4 in the next couple months. That's my guess.
Oh.
Or it could go the other way. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I feel like we're all, no matter what we are, we all still got a 15 in us. And like that guy shows up. And that's where you see the guys that get real good is they're the guys that can't be scratched. Like I would love to one day be scratched. But I mean, you're like, to be scratched, you have to, like your bad day is like a 74. And it's
right.
That would be an amazing day for me. Like, it's that just how good that is. You almost got to be boring golf. I mean, you got to be, you got to just play where it's always just up there. Chipping's always got to be close. I know, Frank, you've been working. I've seen your chip. Like you had lessons from Kisner.
He's got lessons from Kisner, DeChambeau. He's got a bunch of. It still doesn't work.
It's definitely it's up here, man. It's a disorder at this point, right? Like you can be taught as much as you want, but if you can't process the information, figure it out, you're fucked. So that's me right now.
You're just putting. You just putt like 40 yards out. You're putting. You're like, just be that guy, you know.
Well, JT and Ricky played lefty like in the Caribbean, like during the winter, and they instead of chipping, they were actually putting through the bunkers, and it was working. It was like elite. Like I'm gonna start doing that, I think, because why would I like? People now come from other holes when they know that like we're there, or like if I'm at I play at this place Rockville and the guys all there at the club know that I'm coming, and then you'll see people start to come out of the trees when I have a nice 30-yard, 25-yard chip over a bunker. And the other day I just bladed one onto the road and you hear them all go back to their ball. It's like, why would I put myself through that? Just putt the ball. It'll end up just better.
Yeah. Yeah, so, chipping is like, it's all confidence. Like that's, I mean, I think golf's a great life sport in the fact that it's like, it's all confidence. You have to swing with knowing, you know, you got to picture your shot, you got to visualize, you got to, and I had the same boat with chipping for a while, and I've turned at least a little bit of a corner. And just, you learn that it's like, you got to just hit it. And like, you just, you don't want to, like, you're like, it's not, you just catch yourself. It's brutal. Head games are everything.
Are you worried about where your game's going to go once you're able to get back out on the road and not the pandemic's not around anymore? Your game's probably going to suffer a little bit.
It is. And so I that's what I've been trying to like, just get these thoughts down. So like I'm able to, you know, cause like you see guys that will be, I mean, I played with a guy the other day, just a guy, and like he was like he's usually like a 0, and then he was like, I'm probably a 3 now. He's like my best ever. Like he's like but he's like, so you want to get to that where when you don't play, you just still know how to swing and you still know how to do stuff. I mean, I'm trying to get more where I'm playing, so I play the game. Like I have a Garmin watch. Garmin's got a great. I mean, not that they got a great track. Yeah, it's awesome. Great. And so it's keeping all these stats, and I've recently just taken it off because then I get too into that, and I'm thinking about that too much. So I'm trying to make myself now go out and just like trust your game. You know, like they're always be like, just be athletic in this shot, and like with chipping and stuff, you're like, yeah, just visualize what you're trying to do, and you know, I mean, you know, when you visualize a shot and you hit it, I mean, it's like there's not much better than you're like, that's exactly what I wanted that ball to do.
When you break through like handicap zones, at least for me, like I have to regain confidence almost to that level. Like when I started at like a 15 and then I got to a 10, and then I have to like feel like I should play like a 10, because then when now I'm a 6 or 7, when you get to that level and you play with guys that are like in that range, they can like maybe move the ball or do something that you can't do. And then so I feel like I have to regain confidence at that level of a handicap to be competitive, to like what you said, like I'm a 3, but like if you want to play for money, like I'm really like a 5, you know what I mean? And that's the handicap system keeps you honest. But like,
it's like if I got up to like if I got down to like a 5 now, that's like I'm entering the room and looking around and being like, you fucking guys have been here this whole time. Like I'm the new guy. Like I don't know. What are we shooting around here? And then so it is. It's like you gotta kind of get comfortable with it. But I also understand like what you're saying, where it's like, for me to play decent golf, I need to be at like my best. And it's like I've been working on it. And like, whereas there's guys, if you're like a scratch or you're a 2 or whatever, there's guys that are so natural that like they haven't played in a month and they're still playing that high level golf, where it's like, no, I can only play what looks like decent golf if I'm like dialed and I've been working on it. And this is like the peak of my game. Whereas other people, they just roll out of bed and it's like, oh yeah, 74. You're like, excuse me? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I've doubled 18. You're like, you doubled with a 74? Like, I mean, like, that they know how to like not get in trouble. I mean, that's the idea of it, is like they don't put themselves in any big, like hearing John talk about misses a lot. Like I've never, like, you know, strategy. So like you can't think about your swing. Like the worst thing you can do is like you're thinking you have just a million swing thoughts and you're thinking, my takeaway is here. You got to have your club out, because they say stuff that doesn't make sense. When you hear like pros try to tell you something, there's someone that's really good and they try to explain it. You're like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Like the club head needs to be faster than the grip. And you're like, what do you mean, dude? I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know how. I was like, so you swing harder. You're like, you don't swing harder, you swing faster. You're like, that's not a thing, dude. Like, that doesn't make sense. And so you don't understand. And they're talking like on just another level that you're like, I can't it's almost like you get lessons from all the chipping lessons from the pros. You're like, dude, they're just too far gone. Like they don't know how to tell you to do something because you're like, I don't know how to not dig it into the middle of this side of this heel.
Right.
Like, so like, and how do I not do that? They're like, oh, you open the face up a little bit. Like you use the bounce. You're like, I don't even know how to look up what bounce means. I don't even know what it means.
Like explain it to me like I'm 5. Explain it to me like I'm 5 years old because that's how I need it.
I've looked up bounce 50 times. I still don't know what bounce means.
I still don't. I just get a lot of it. I just try to get the most I can get of it because think that's what I should have.
The unchunkable.
There was a time like Kisner told Frankie, I think, like the club needs to be moving the fastest right at impact of the ball or something. And it was like, you might as well have told Frankie to like create a rocket that could put the man on the moon. And he was just like standing over the ball. He's like,
Dude, my next swing was legitimately slow, like a amusement park ride, and even slow right here. And then I tried to flick my wrist. I'm like, is that correct? And he just walked away from it.
And then the last thing they always say is just don't think about it. Just clear your mind. It's like, but you just told me 50 things to think about.
You're like the roller coaster that just shoots out. You know, the one that doesn't go slow. It's like right when you sit down, it's like, oh, shit. And then you just do that.
Am I doing this right?
And you hit one good shot, and it's like, and then it's tough to get lessons from those guys, and you got to find a guy. Like lessons are something that people, if they ever get into it, it's worth the lessons. It's worth to spend the money to go do that. And you can find lessons, you know, I always say, if golf was your thing, you could join a club. There's plenty of clubs that you could, for $300 a month, like be a member somewhere and go play every day. If you were obsessed with it, it's, you know, and you got to be upset. You got to like kind of be obsessed with it. And you have to, I think about it, man. I think like I'll go to bed. I'll think about, if I'm playing a weird course the next day, I'll think about the first hole, like what I'm going to do. Like, you know, I played Pinehurst once. I played 2 and 8, or no, 2 and 4.
Okay.
And but I like now that I'm better. You know, when I played it there, I was probably like an 8, and so now I want to go back. We've actually been talking about going with Shay and all of us, like going out somewhere. Which Pinehurst.
You guys got to do a trip. I think Shay mentioned that. He's like, man, we've been like looking at destinations. That's how we got stuck on Branson. We said we were going to hashtag blow up Branson, which was wasn't a great tagline. But it was, Branson apparently has got some good golf nowadays. But yeah, the trip, Pinehurst, man, it is like, it's that thought of like going to bed and thinking about that first shot, like how you're going to try to hit that tee shot. Like that is when you know you've got the bug. When it like, you wake up for breakfast, they're like, do you want like scrambled eggs? Or you're like, I just want to hit that fucking cut down the left side. Like I've been thinking about all night. Like that's the only thing I want to do.
Yeah, that's it. And and that's what, when you get good and when you start knowing where your ball is going to go too, that's like when you get over, I've learned to like, I club up a lot more now than I ever did, you know, because you just learn that like, all right, I'm not trying to, you know, you start seeing that your numbers are better than, you know, whatever some numbers are. Because you start playing with good guys too. I mean, they're hitting a 9-iron 160 or something, and you're like, all right, like, you know, and then you're like, I guess I'll do my 8, like, or something. Like you just kind of go, I'm just thinking I'm 1 club off you, and you're like, no, dude, you're 2 clubs off them. So like you got to learn to, like, when you get over the ball, I try to tell myself if I'm comfortable. Sometimes I am comfortable, like trying to get on a 7. But sometimes go to a 6. I'm not comfortable with a 7, and I need to go and you know, and you just try to make yourself right before you hit the shot to be like, what's the most comfortable? Like you're like, oh, I feel good now hitting this, and you try to do that. I've had bad putting. I mean, I've been doing 3-foot putts. No one gives me putts because I've just laid a track record of I miss them. I mean, not 3-foot. 3-foot, I'd lag up there and just hope it tap in.
Where I'm at.
1 foot. I just can't wrap my head around it, dude. I get over it, and just everything looks confusing. Oh, and no. I did it one. Mike Yastrzemski putts. He looks at the hole, you know, like Spieth used to. Yeah. He does it if it's a 100-foot putt, if it's a foot putt. He looks at the hole, and so I did that one round. I mean, you're just like, I'm just looking at the whole, like I would try. If you told me to look forward and I putted, I would be, all right, I'll do that. Like,
Dude,
I'll try whatever.
I've never understood this. Like you're talking about Augustine, like of the, like, oh yeah, like your misses. It's all about like your misses. And like, yeah, you got to like know where to miss. And I'm honestly, that doesn't make sense. Like, how would I know where to, I'm just trying to like, no, I'm trying to hit it to a spot. Why would I be trying to miss in a spot? Like I'm trying to hit it to the right spot. How could I know?
Imagine being so
miss
precise. Imagine being
like,
so precise that like if you miss, it's still on the green.
Yeah.
That's right. Like
I don't get that. Like understand your misses. And like, no, like if I understood my misses, I just wouldn't miss. Like I would just fucking hit it right. Like
well, he's like, leave it over there. I played a course with Augustine that he's never played. And so if you can ever go play with a guy that's either obviously at that level, a pro, or if you can play with someone that's even scratch, very fun to play with them when they don't know a course. You can almost appreciate, like, like when y'all play with kids that are at like Pinehurst, he knows where to go. He knows where to hit it. He's played that course a million times. But if you played him a course he's never known, and then you get to see them go, they always ask, they go, so where am I supposed to go? And you're like, you aim there, like towards that house. He's like, where can I miss? And you're like, you can miss right. And that's all they want to know. And you almost appreciate their game more when they don't know where they're just completely trusting on a guy telling them where to hit it. Because then you see them hit it to that spot and you're like, good night. You almost realize how much better they are than, like Pinehurst. I don't know. Not that you don't see how much better they are, but it's like they know what they're doing. So you're not getting to see when you're able to like go hit towards that cart and then they hit it. But I learned like today, I mean, some holes I was like, where's the miss on this? He's like, well, there's not really a miss. And I'm like, well, there's got to be. You can't tell me that there's been misses and this hole doesn't have a miss because I don't know what to do. But it's just where you want to be like, you can't go left. Like if it's out of bounds, trees, water, or you're going to get stuck over there. And I had one of them was a par 5 I had, and I had a pitching wedge into it and I missed left. He's like, you just can't miss there. And because it was like the chip up was like, it's really impossible to get the ball close. So you can't really get it up and down. And so you got to just get yourself on the green. So they think about, I think it's like they think of that stuff. I'm still figuring it out, but it's, it's basically being like, there's water on the left. You're fine. If you go to a hole, maybe there's no water, but there's a bunch of trees on the left and the right is like another fairway. So obvious, you could slice it and you're probably fine. But you can't hook it into those trees. You're still finding your ball, but you're never getting out of those trees. So you can just rip it that way. And I think that's what and like we're definitely not the guys that should be talking about. Like we're some guys at home writing this stuff down. Like, oh, is that how you get it? Like, nah, dude, go watch YouTube videos. Like, don't listen to that. Don't listen.
It also goes like exactly against what like Alfonso Ribeiro, who came on our show, said, where he's like, don't think of anything aside from what you want to do, right?
Positive
he's like,
thoughts only.
Like if you see water, you just don't even look at the water. You just think fairway. So like for me, it's almost opposite of like what these pros are doing. They want to know where their misses are.
Mm-hmm.
So
they know what their bad shot is. Like it's like when my missed shot, I don't know if I can tell you what my shot is wrong. Like if I don't do something wrong, you're like, I mean, maybe it goes. I would tend to, when I do draws, they hook too much, but they can also go way out right. Like that guy could pop up. Like you're like, there's a few different things that can pop up. So it's like they just know like what they're like. If they hit one bad, they know like, all right, I'm gonna leave it out. When you see them working on something, like I get sucked into YouTube videos at night, and I was doing it for putting, and I got down, dude. I found a video where it had 50 views, and like 50.
There's the dark place,
dude.
Man.
There's probably a blank screen that has more views than that. And I'm watching a guy just talking in his office about transition and putting, and I'm like, I'm listening to this. I don't know if this guy's good. And I'm just like sitting there watching.
No one trusts that guy.
No one trusts that guy.
YouTube doesn't even trust him. They actually blackballed him into some corner of YouTube. YouTube doesn't trust because
you're just captivated next to your screen. Like, what has this guy got?
We've Shay's convinced that he could be a side saddle putter. He thinks he's better that way. And have you ever seen Juan putt, like Juan putt? Like it's like Juan, and it's to Juan putt. It's a side saddle video. One of the best videos ever. The dude made a video, and Jason They actually knew the guy, and he's like, it's his daughter. I think it's his daughter sings the song in the video, and it's like one putt, and it's a side saddle putter, and he just makes the whole video. And it's great. I just said that to Shay because that's what Shay wants. He's like, I'm pretty good side saddle, man. I think I should do like. He's like, I think I should just be standing side of the ball, and like if you can get over that's like Will Chamberlain. Like they told him to shoot through his legs like granny style free throws. Yeah. It's like if you can side saddle, you're like, I mean, if you can do it and not, Matt's confident to do it and not get looks. You're fine with those looks. Go for it.
Oh, yeah, because like you better be making putts if you're an asshole standing on the side of the ball. Like you better make.
That was our thing with Bryson. Bryson did that for a little bit. And we're like, you better be making those putts.
Right.
You better be unreal, dude. You better be like. Where the other group, you see them try it afterwards. Like, you're that good. That they're like, all right, maybe I should give this a go. Like, you definitely need to be that good. Because Shay has that confidence, though. Shay is he's very positive. I mean, for every shot, it's like, this is about to go in. He just knows. I mean, and that is something that you're like, that's probably why he plays, he shoots what he shoots being so new to golf. Is because he just is like, I'm about to rip this one. And like, he just knows, where I go on and, you're like, just don't be a nightmare. Like, you just want the ball. You're like, just don't be a train wreck. And
be an athlete one time, just one time.
Just one time, center of the face. Just see what that feels like. And then just don't be a problem. And they just yank one. I've seen guys, bad golf shots, there's nothing better. I played with one of my buddies. And he hit a driver right, like straight that way. And to this day, it's one of the worst shots I've ever seen.
Well, that's the big bet on the first tee box. When you're like playing with new guys and you're like, who's going to go first? It's like, no, you go first. And as soon as someone shanks one, it like eases the tension. But if you're the last guy up and everybody hits good balls, like the pressure is even mounted. So it's this like interesting bet on a first tee box of where you want to be and how you want to hit it.
Do you know that's not a rule? Like the going first, like in the pros, like that's not a rule. Like they don't like the honors. It's like you don't have to go first. I found out this from the call. I always thought they had to go. Like if you birdie a hole and the guy pars it, you have to go first. It's not a rule. It's what it is. It's an honors thing. But like so, Tiger on 18 of the Masters is like, no, go ahead. The guy can go. If he,
really,
they do it. I thought it was a rule. They do it in college a lot because college golfers won't know. Pros know. They know what you're doing, and it doesn't really matter if it's like a par 4, but like a par 3 where they don't know what the wind's going to do. A lot of good college golfers, they'll be like, "Go ahead, I got to get some out of my bag," and like a guy that's not as good will be like, "Okay," and he'll just go, even though the other guy was supposed to go first, and then they let him go because they want to see like,
right.
Yeah. And so it's like, but the guys that are good are like, no, I'll wait. Go ahead, get your stuff out of your bag. Like,
I'm not going anywhere.
Well, Brooks told us that about like 12 at Augusta and stuff. That like you got to watch guys because that wind can push the ball anyway, and like you don't know until you step up to the ball. The caddy can tell you one thing, but you have no idea until you watch someone hit it.
Tiger talked about watching and seeing that Brooks hit it in the water. It was like I knew that he hit a good shot and that he flights it better than I do. So I knew that like. He hit a 9-iron. I knew I had to fucking pipe a 9-iron because Brooks went in the water. It's like, yeah, on that level, they can learn that much. Whereas like Frankie's teeing off, like I'm not even watching. I'm on my phone. Like I don't know what's going on.
Well, that's the experience too. Coming up like 11, I'm sure Tiger's looking over there and like looking for balls and ball flight and what wind does. And like if you're a new guy at playing Augusta, you're just like solo focused on like how can I somehow make par here.
Yeah, I like when you play. You get a read. You're playing a scramble, and the first guy tries to give you a read, and he's terrible, and they just pounds it, and you're like, "Well, that was pointless." Like that was. You're like, I think we're worst off. We're worst off.
Doesn't break like I thought, boys. You're like, dude, you hit it 20 feet.
Yeah. Seems straight to me. You're like, yeah, anything would be straight. Like, put that on a NASCAR track, it'd be straight. You're pounding it would break. Like, zero confidence.
It's the ultimate, like, sorry, boys, when you hit that one, you just know it's not the right line. You just say sorry to the guy that was waiting on you. It's just brutal. It's the least being an athlete moment.
I was following along a little bit when y'all played Kisner, but did y'all have the same putting order the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
right?
much. It changed a little bit once or twice, but for the most part, it was me, then Trent, and then
Me
Frankie
and then
Riggs.
Riggs.
Yeah. But our hitting order was a little bit different.
We didn't use one of my putts, all 18 holes.
Really?
Is that true?
Yeah. Because like either Trent or Lurch drilled theirs, and then whenever it came to me, I just missed.
You hit good drives though. You contributed a couple of 285 yarders down the middle.
You did.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, it was a tough day around the greens. There's no debating that. Nate, just real quick, I wanted, because I know Trent and Riggs and Lurch, we're all huge fans of you. Me specifically, I think you're like my favorite comedian of all time. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't want to pump your tires.
No, I love it, dude. That's awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
So has the coronavirus be doing the same thing every day, going to the golf course every day? Has that taken you off like your grind of like, because you have jokes of all walks of your life, right? Going into Starbucks and going with your buddies wherever, or your wife and stuff like that. Like you're living the same day every day right now. Has that like thrown you off your writing and making new jokes, or has it helped you do new stuff?
It's definitely like I've done a few shows now. Zany's in Nashville, our local club opened. So I did shows last weekend. I luckily I was hoping to tape another special this fall. And I luckily kind of had my new hour, and I maybe needed a couple more things. So I was kind of good to go. So it's not like I was like really searching. Like when I got to come up with new material, I get very like, I just kind of get open. Like I'm in a search mode of trying to find stuff. Like, I go do stuff. You go like, go to Starbucks, go to Cape Fear, Serpentine, go to weird things, like whatever you can do to like try to find stuff. So I get in a very open-minded search trying to find material. So luckily this one, I already kind of had it. And, I've thought of some stuff. Like obviously if I do a special, I would probably address some of this COVID stuff somewhat. I'm not a guy that's really too topical, but I would address it some. But it's definitely like right now, I mean, I feel very shut off. Like my brain feels shut off as far as coming up with stuff. If something happened crazy, I would see it and know it and like try to use it. But I mean, like I talk about golf in my special, but I can't talk about like this kind of stuff. No,
right.
I have one golf thing in my new hour, but it's like something that anybody could do. Like you can't get too into like, golf humor. Like, I mean, that's why like golf memes are my favorite, because they're just so specific.
Yeah.
So they're so funny to me because they're, it's like, you got to just play to know how funny that is. But so like, I'm hoping to gear back up, and I got it. Like when I did the Zany show, I started saying all these jokes again and started, you just got to get back into the rhythm. I mean, it's like a song, like, you know what you say, the order you say it. I did so many shows up to when this happened. So I felt good. And then I'm hopefully going to get a start back up and do either some clubs or do something. So then I'm ready to go, and then hopefully get to tape this special. Because I'm getting I want to be done with this hour. And then I can start, like until you get it on something and it's taped, it's recorded, it's your brain, like, then it turns into like a big search to get new material. And then you feel like rushed to find stuff. And then you go, I've never been like a sit down and write. Like I don't go up and like sit and write on my computer. I just kind of keep notes and go out through the day and try to do whatever things that would be relatable to everybody else.
Right, because your style is more about cadence and delivery and stuff. I mean, for me watching it, it's like it's stuff that like we can all experience in real life, but it's also just the way you deliver it. And so, yeah, I would assume that getting back into that groove is almost, you got to work at it, right?
Yeah. I mean, now that I could have like family stuff come up, like, so new stuff, it'd be like wife, daughter, like that, those kind of stuff. But yeah, you got to get back into like getting out and being around people and seeing this guy and this guy, I'm sure once I do that, when I get fly again, like you could see the way people react during that stuff. And so, yeah, you got to be just very aware. And so, yeah, I definitely got to get back. Nothing's coming out of this, like, it's just, it's like, I've golfed every day. Like, it's been, the only day, my birthday was right when this happened, on March 25th. And our course only shut down on my birthday. That was the only day of the quarantine. I was very like, you know, people were like, "Oh, you're gone," because California shut down. You know, you can't do anything there, and so they shut down golf. But I didn't like with golf. I was like, "How are you shutting down?" Like golf is like it's a sport that's built for this pandemic. Like,
right.
You're never someone swinging a club. You can't be within 6 feet of a guy and like all this stuff. So it was perfect for that this happened for the golf. I mean, golf was rooting for something like this to come along. You know, right. They probably started it. We get down to the bottom of that. PGA started Corona. You know,
have you heard it on the course? Any of those brutal coronavirus jokes where like you hit one left and they're like social distancing? It makes me want to throw up. Has anyone ever said anything like that to you? It makes me.
Yeah, they just do that. They do, you know. I'll fall. I'll do some of like if someone actually knocks ones off the tee, I love saying that's one. That's it's not a. I mean, it's an old hack. People could get furious. It's definitely not a.
Yeah, you're like, don't say it. Don't say. You're like, no, that's fine.
But I love it. I love it every time. Going one, like it's nothing funnier than me. And because if you made a guy count it, that would even be better. If you're like, we gotta, you know. I love doing not gimmies. You ask them to mark a ball if they're close. Those are always the best one. There's a guy because you play with guys because I'll play in like these celebrity events and so you know they expect you to be super funny. And I just try to tell stories because I'm not as funny as like there's guys on a golf course that are super funny, man. They say just little stuff. That there's one guy I play with. So he would always like when you hit a putt and you read it wrong, and he's like, oh, that reminds me of my first grade teacher, Miss Reed. He just says it like kind of under his breath as he walks by you. And it's like a very funny, like, and
that's great.
I mean, it only works there, but it's so good. It's such a funny, stupid. And so you're like, I'm not going to be funnier than that guy. Like, you're like out here, like that guy's super funny, you know?
That's so fucking funny.
Frankie loves that one. You're going to give that to your dad. Your dad.
Oh, my dad's using that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
It's a perfect one to say as you walk by the guy. Or you lag up, like when you hit like a 2-putt, in like a short 2-putt, you miss. He's like, that's a good lag up there, like good safe play. Like
I'm sure we're coming to the end of this, and I can't let you leave without talking about the fact that you played at Trent Ryan's hometown simulator in like where was it, Des Moines, Iowa, Cedar Rapids?
No. Right before the pandemic hit, you did a show in Cedar Rapids, which is where I'm from originally. I live in New York now, but you went and played a simulator at St. Andrews, which is the course that I grew up on, and I just couldn't believe that you were there. It was insane.
Oh yeah, they have a whole row of them.
Yeah, they do.
I'm not trying to play everywhere I go, and so we went in there and we just like looked up places, and we were going to try to play, but it was kind of this stuff was all kind of happening, and it was very nice that day in Cedar Rapids. So everybody that course was kind of packed. But they had those simulators, and I was like, oh, we'll just go play. We'll just do that. And so we went there and played. That place was great. They were super nice to us and set it up. I ended up kicking because another very funny comic, Gary Veeder, who had he just had a story come out in Sports Illustrated. His dad, like, when he grew up in New York, and they would go to basketball games, and he's met Jordan, Gretzky. He's been to all these crazy games. It's an article on SportsIllustrated.com. And his dad would say he's a maker, like, no, not Make-A-Wish. I'm sorry. He's a Sports Illustrated for kids. He would say he's one of the journalists, and he would just lie about it. And they never checked his and he was at like the double nickel game with Jordan, and then would go in the locker room with his dad was like a scam artist, and he just would go to everything because his dad would just be like, yeah. And then he would just have his dumb little like camera or something, and just be like, he's Sports Illustrated for kids. Veeder, Gary played with us there, but I mean, I was like, they were so bad that I was just trying to see. He made it like 2 holes, and I was like, that's probably enough. I just cut him off. I'm like, and then my other buddy that I play with, Travis, that I grew up with him, and he's okay, but he's another one. I mean, he made it to 11, and I was like, I think we're good. And I just finished it out on my own. I was like, well, yeah, I mean, we do have a show tonight, and I can't watch you hit the roof with your driver, like with the ball. He just pops the ball straight up, and like it's a flop shot.
So are you cutting your buddies off? So you're saying that's enough?
I cut them off. I say that's enough, and I called the guy that owned it over. I was like, Could you take them off the thing so I can finish? And Gary made it, I think, 2 holes. And I was like, that's good, man. And then I was like, you get it, dude. You can say you've done it.
It's like playing mini golf when you putt it into the hole and then the ball's gone. It's literally just like mini golf. You just set it up so he only gets to play 2 holes, putts it into the hole, the ball's just gone.
Like, just drop with me. Yeah, you're like,
that was the other surreal part. I knew the guy that you called over. That's like my buddy's dad. I was like, what the hell is going on? It was just it was so strange.
We talk about that place all the time. He got a hole in one there, and we don't think it's like a real place. We're like St. Andrews in Iowa. What are you talking about? And then you just pop up at this place. It was so funny.
You've been telling the best place. Can I tell us? Or do y'all have a time? Or
no.
You've been. I'll get in on this. I'll tell you one.
All day.
My best golf story. Y'all not even recording anymore. Y'all just like, I just see y'all start walking away. I'm like, hey guys, are y'all still?
These guys.
My funnest, my best golf experience I've had. I have a course record at a course, and it's Pete Dye's last course that he ever made before he passed away, which he was 90-something, 92. So the guy, this will be a very braggy story, but. So I've become friends with Eric Stonestreet, and Eric Stonestreet is obviously super famous, so he's friends with everybody. And he's good friends with the owner of the Dodgers, Mark Walter. Mark Walter, like right out to the Jack, there's a conservation. Mark Walter's really into like saving rhinos and animals, and so he has a conservation in Florida at White Oaks Conservation. It's an amazing place he's real big in like poaching and trying to stop all that stuff. There's a 9-hole course on there. It used to be like in the 60s and 70s. This guy bought it in the 80s, and like the Clintons used to go there. It was this very private thing. And then Mark Walter bought it from him, and now it's this conservation. And so he has a 9-hole course, and he has a new course that he built. And he had Pete Dye design it. It's Pete Dye's last course he ever designed. Nobody's played it. I have the course record of 93. Nobody. Yes. And I text the pro. There's a golf pro there, and he's got a bum shoulder, so he can't play. So nobody. They run it as if it's about to be played every day. It's kept up, and he uses it. I mean, the guy that owns the Dodgers is obviously a billionaire, and so he's using this course. He would eventually use it, I think, as like he just likes it being like he wants it's just no one can play this course. You can't play it without. And I went to New Year's Eve there, and with Eric, and so we got to play it. And I played it like 5 times. And you would pull up. I mean, it's the only course I've ever played. They're cutting the grass for you. Like they put the pin placements for me. I played it one day. You go to the range, you're just by yourself, and balls are set up. And they were just so excited to have someone coming out there because no one plays it. And I text the pro. I'm like, is anybody? My record's still up there? I mean, 93 is going to get beat so quickly. So, and I just try to like. Man, he's like, you're still the course record holder, and it's unbelievable. It would be a top 25 course in the country if anybody even knew about it. And no one knows. If anybody ever says they played it, there's a 9-hole that people can get on, but this 18, no one can get on. And like it's to play a course that no one's ever played is unreal. I mean, like when you find a ball, it's your ball. It's not another ball. Like you're like, that's yours. And so it was like the most amazing experience I've ever had golfing, just doing that. Cause you're just by yourself. It's remarkable.
Heard of anything like that in my life.
And you got a course record.
I mean, to have it like a course record, a hole-in-one is like, that can happen. You can never have a course record. You just can't. Like, there's just too many good – no matter how good you get, you'll never have a course record. And so to have one and to be able to say I have a course record, to be 93.
You might be the only course record in the 90s in the world.
I mean, in the world. I mean, in the history. I mean, like, yeah.
You have the highest course record.
Yeah. Nobody has that. And it will get blown out because some pros will end up getting to go out there and, I mean, just, I don't know, or just a regular guy that's decent will go out
just
there.
a 10 handicap will do it.
That pro's shoulder's going to heal up, and he's going to knock my course record out.
That's the best part. You got this pro stand, and he's got a bum shoulder. He just can't beat you right now.
Yeah. It's unbelievable experience, though.
Imagine you just get some average Joe rolls in there, shoots like 87, and he comes back in, and they're like, oh, that's the course record. He's going to be like,
what?
What?
Like, oh God, and you're like, what was it? 93. I'll be furious if they let it break for an 87. I will be so mad. I want to keep it 93.
Oh man. All right, Nate.
So
well, this was a blast.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, obviously big fan. And what you guys are doing with golf, no one's talking to the players like the way you talk. No one makes the sport to see how fun and normal all these golfers are. And so you guys are doing amazing, and you're the only ones doing it. I mean, and that's what's or that I know. I'm sure maybe there's other, but
we're not talking about them.
Yeah. But you guys are crushing it, and I love how much y'all love it, and I love it. And yeah, I want to play with all of you. So let's all get together and go.
Yeah.
When we get the bus, we'll come visit you in Pinehurst. I'm still so confused on why you're still there. I don't know.
Why the fuck would I go back to New York City? Have you seen what's going on?
92 days he's been down there.
92
days.
Look at Trent.
Yeah,
I'm in New York City. There's nothing going on here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think you should just live there, dude. Like,
hey, we're all gonna be there next week, so maybe you make the trip up.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, y'all are playing all next week. All right, I'll see. I'm gonna see if I can go because we've been talking about trying to get because we have tour buses that we've had. I had a tour bus for my tour that just sits now. So and Shay does too. Pack it in, come down, go pound it out. All right. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right.
Cool. We appreciate it, man. This was fun. People should check out your special, and we got to get to a show. I want to come to a show.
Well, he's coming up. Yeah. I see in Red Bank. You're playing at the Count Basie.
That's where I was when it canceled. That's where it all went down.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, Red Bank was the show I was at that we had to cancel like 3 hours before because like they were like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Dude, the NBA can't." Like I was like, I don't know what's going on. They did a show the week before. They're like, Tony Bennett did a show. You're like, yeah, you should have definitely never let him do it. Like he's extremely.
We don't want.
I mean, in his audience, you're like, like how did these guys not all die? Like you're like, you could have never let that happen. Like. You're like, that's the worst group to come out to a show. Like, I mean, are you out of your mind? Like, once they said that, Tony Bennett still did a show. Yeah, you should have cut it off, dude. Tell him no. He probably doesn't even know what's going on. Put him in a room and just have him sing. Like, come on, dude.
I'm in Red Bank right now. As I talk to you, I'm in Red Bank.
Oh, really?
I'm a mile from the Count Basie.
We were there. We walked around that whole town. Yeah, I'll be in Red Bank. Y'all come out to Red Bank, and we'll get you all to the show.
That's close to New York.
Tickets. It's not that bad of a deal. No, y'all are all welcome. I'd love to come in. Yeah, I'll talk to Shay. We'll figure out if we can come meet. If not there, we will come meet y'all and come play somewhere.
Yeah,
awesome.
for sure.
Good.
All right, brother.
All right.
This was good.
All right, thanks again, man.
Thanks so much.
Man.
Thank you.